When we say there is beauty in every nook and cranny of Nepal, it wasn't just a figure of expression. Literally, every corner has a beautiful surprise. Just like Jalbire that is tucked in a corner of nowhere, but when its gigantic, gorgeous waterfall beckons, you can hardly say no.
Welcome to Sammy Adventures, and today we're in Jalbire! Woo!
We drive 110 kilometers from Kathmandu all the way to Mugling and then take a left to move towards Chitwan. About 10 kilometers into the road leading to Chitwan, and we finally reach our spot of adventure.
So when I was researching for ideas and adventures to feature for the show, I came across this really cool video on canyoning by GRG Adventures. And I was like, oh my god, I have to do this. Exactly after a month of watching the video, I was in Jalbire with them.
And wearing a wetsuit is the first step to gearing up for the adventure. Over the journeys for Sammy Adventures, I met my backpacking Dutch friend Sander, and together with him we set off for our canyoning adventure in Jalbire. The coolest thing about the Jalbire adventure has to be Maila Dai and his gang of brothers. They were very helpful, very skilled, and super fun. And they'd do the randomest of things like creating GoPro stick out of a tree branch. And of course, the coolest in the bunch, Maila Gurung was the life of the party.
Competition first on that.
Asian Championship gold medal जितेछु अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ अब तपाई क्यारिबिना प्लस इन फिगर 8 हुन्छ अब त्यो चाहिँ रूपमा चाहिँ अब तपाईको टाइ अप हुन्छ हैन त्यसले चाहिँ तपाईलाई सपोर्ट गर्छ सेभ गर्छ हैन र त्यसमा गाइडहरुले तपाईलाई सिकाइदिनुहुन्छ कसरी झर्ने कसरी बिले गर्ने भन्ने कुरोमा चाहिँ है त
A usual canyoning adventure would mean abseiling down from a certain waterfall and you're done with it, but not in Jalbire.
Jalbire is this all-natural water theme park that has several waterfalls and natural slides and plenty of cliff jumping spots. By the end of it, I felt so invincible. I felt so brave. Although at the start of our journey, I was anything but brave.
Jump! Okay, jump!
Okay, give me the countdown.
1, 2, 3, jump!
And thus our adventure began. And this sumptuous meal was our lunch for the day.
Alright, this is our lunch. I think I'll have some bread, some cheese, and some baked beans.
Sitting there under the afternoon sun was also one of my favorite moments in the journey. After a short break, we were off again. Nepal is perhaps one of the best locations in the world for canyoning trips. After all, being one of the richest countries in water resources, we have plenty of exciting rivers and waterfalls to enjoy the sport in. Many still left to explore.
Okay, so we were walking on this dry land after our canyoning adventure, and I thought we were done with it. And then suddenly this guy asks us if we want to try sliding down one last waterfall. What had we to lose, right? So we went for it.
The last waterfall was a good 20 feet in height, which gave us both quite a fright. In fact, when Sander was sliding down, he doubted if I would make the jump.
Are you going? I think you're lying.
And he was quite right. I was actually planning to back out. After Sander made the jump, I could hear him saying that he had lost his GoPro. And I was like, don't worry, Sander, we will find it. And then I started on my journey loud and proud with my natural selfie stick in my hand. Only after I made my slide did I realize how Sander lost his GoPro, because I ended up losing mine too.
From on top, it looked like the slide would go all the way down, but it did not. It only went halfway, and halfway you just wobble in the air until you crash in the water. That was also 20 feet deep.
We dove several times in hopes to find our GoPros, but the water was so cold and the darkness of the night was upon us. We thought we'd never get our footages. It was a tragic feeling. But we managed to fish both our cameras out and even attend the National Kayaking Festival the next day.
मिनिमम 1500 रिभर गाइडले चाहिँ हैन 3000 जना फ्यामिलीलाई चाहिँ पालेको छ कि यो राफ्टिङ इन्डस्ट्रीले अब अहिलेसम्म त हामी बाँचिरहेको छौँ र बचाइरहेको छ अरूलाई पनि अझै हामी आशा छ कि अझै बचाउँ र अझै गर्दै जाउँ हैन अब हेरौँ यो सरकारले के गर्नुहुन्छ
Another reason why this particular episode became my favorite is also because of the people we met there. We were even invited to a rice feeding ceremony there, which amazingly the entire community of Fishling volunteered in. It was amazing to see so much bond in a community after a long time.
After 2 days of thrilling adventure, we bid goodbye to Mainadai and his team. Sander went off to Kathmandu and we went off to our next adventure station, both taking lifts from local drivers. At the height of the fuel crisis back then, this was our only choice of commute.
That's it for today. Until we come back next week with our finale episode, you keep watching Sammy Adventures.
म नेपाली हाम्रो नेपाल हाम्रो देश बनाउने दायित्व मबाट सुरु हुन्छ